If procrastination were about not caring, you'd procrastinate most on things that don't matter, right? You'd avoid brushing your teeth, you'd avoid replying okay to a simple message, you'd avoid scrolling on your phone, but that's not what happens. You procrastinate most on the things that matter most. That alone should tell you something important. You don't avoid meaningless tasks, you avoid meaningful ones. The email that matters, the project that could change something, the thing tied to your future or your identity. And when you notice that pattern, the usual explanation stops making sense. That's not laziness, that's pressure. In this video, I'll show you why importance increases procrastination and what's actually happening in your brain when the stakes rise and how to work with that instead of fighting it. This isn't a motivation problem, it's a pressure problem. Most people think procrastination means you don't care enough, that if you really wanted something, you'd just do it. But your own behaviour contradicts that story, doesn't it? You don't procrastinate on trivial things. You don't freeze over low-stakes tasks. You don't agonise over meaningless work. You procrastinate selectively. And the selection, it's not random. Procrastination targets meaningful work. That pattern alone tells us this isn't about indifference. It's about internal conflict. Here's what importance adds to a task: expectations, consequences, identity meaning, fear of failure or judgment. The more something matters, the heavier it feels to start. Not because you're lazy, because importance transforms a task from neutral into loaded. You're no longer just doing work. You're doing something that might expose you, might define you, might disappoint someone, might confirm a fear about yourself. Importance doesn't motivate action. It often blocks it. So the science really matters here. When pressure rises, your nervous system shifts into protection mode. Your brain stops asking, what's the best long-term move, and starts asking, what reduces discomfort right now? Threat detection ramps up, risk tolerance drops, initiation shuts down. Your brain doesn't register importance as opportunity, it registers it as risk. So when something feels high stakes, your nervous system switches from progress mode to protection mode. Not because you're broken, because your system is prioritizing safety. In practice, important work usually carries three invisible threats. First, there's a failure threat. What if I'm not good enough? What if I waste my time? What if I try and it doesn't work? Not starting protects you from confirming those fears, right? Second, there's a judgment threat. What will this say about me? How will this look to other people? What expectations am I creating? Avoidance delays exposure. Third, there's the identity threat. This outcome defines something about who I am. This project says something about my worth. This decision says something about my future. Important work doesn't just ask for effort. It looks for emotional exposure, and your nervous system is designed to avoid exposure that feels dangerous. This is the cruel paradox. The more something matters, the more pressure you add. The more pressure you add, the more threat your system perceives. The more threat it perceives, the more it tries to protect you. So you push harder, you tell yourself to get serious, you raise the stakes even more, and resistance escalates. You can't out-discipline a threat response, and every time you delay, you add guilt, which adds pressure, which adds threat, which strengthens avoidance. So this isn't a willpower issue, it's a pressure escalation loop. Here's the reframe that I hope will change everything. Procrastination isn't resistance to work, it's resistance to pressure and to threats. So instead of asking, why can't I just do this? You should ask, what feels unsafe about starting this? That question will change the relationship. Procrastination stops being an enemy. It becomes information. This is the foundation of the momentum reset method. We don't try to overpower resistance. We reduce the conditions that are creating it in the first place, because safety precedes momentum every time. Here's what actually works. Not trying harder, not shaming yourself, not raising the stakes. 3 simple shifts. First, lower the stakes. Removing outcome pressure. Stop telling yourself this has to change everything. Second, shrinking the task. Create a safe entry point. Not impressive, not ambitious, safe. And third, add permission. I can stop any time. You don't need more motivation, you need less threat. So let me give you an example of all of that. Instead of saying this project has to be perfect, say I'll open the document and write 1 messy paragraph. Instead of this could change everything, say I'll work for 10 calm minutes. Your nervous system relaxes then, resistance drops, and often flow appears on its own. I always say that's not mindset, that's biology. So please hear this. You don't procrastinate because you don't care. You procrastinate because you do care. Importance creates pressure, pressure creates protection, and protection blocks you from starting. If this resonated, you might want to watch my companion video, Why You Procrastinate Even When You Care. It's linked up here somewhere and in the description. And if you want a clear step-by-step way to reduce overwhelm and rebuild momentum without panic or burnout, the Momentum Reset Method is linked in the description below. I'll leave you with one question, if I may. What important thing have you been avoiding lately? You don't need more discipline. You need a system that makes starting feel safe.